Now, from deep in the heart of Texas, LifeTalk. Here's your host, Mark Crutcher.
Welcome to LifeTalk for September 2009. I'm Mark Crutcher, and lurking in the shadows are the usual suspects, of course. Later, Father Frank and Janet Morano will be here with the Gospel of Life segment. But right now, it's time for Alan Ackles with this month's LifeTalk News. Alan?
All right, thank you, Mark. A lawsuit has been filed against Mount Sinai Medical Center in New York City for requiring a Catholic pro-life nurse to assist in the abortion of a 22-week-old unborn child. The case is being brought by the Alliance Defense Fund on behalf of Katharina Senzon DiCarlo. According to the suit, Ms. DiCarlo claims that this was not an emergency situation and that another nurse could have been brought in. However, she was threatened by hospital supervisors that if she did not participate in the abortion, she would be charged with insubordination and patient abandonment. Such a charge could have resulted in DiCarlo losing her license. Mount Sinai responded to the suit by submitting a brief to the court claiming that DiCarlo does not have a right to take civil action against the hospital. Louisiana Congressman An Joseph Gao is taking heat for announcing that he will vote against any health care bill that would fund abortion. Gao told a New Orleans newspaper that, quote, "I know that voting against the health care bill will probably be the death of my political career, but I have to live with myself. And I always reflect on the phrase of the New Testament, how does it profit a man's life to gain the world but to lose his soul?" Unquote. Gao is the first native of Vietnam to serve in Congress and the first Republican to serve in his district since 1890. At the July convention of the National Education Association, an attempt to end the organization's official advocacy of abortion was rejected. The convention then showed its nastier side when one of the speakers, NEA attorney Bob Chanin, labeled those members who disagree with the organization's liberal policies on abortion and same-sex marriage as, quote, right-wing bastards, unquote. Gary Beckner, executive director of the American Association of Educators, an alternative to the NEA, told LifeTalk News that his organization would educate teachers about their legal rights not to have their dues used to advance the NEA's radical political agenda. An Oklahoma judge has overturned a state law that would have required women seeking abortions to receive an ultrasound and a doctor's description of their unborn children. Oklahoma County District Judge Vicki Robertson said the law violated constitutional requirements. The law was passed in 2008, but a suit filed by Nova Health Systems, the parent group of reproductive services in Tulsa, argued that the law is unconstitutionally vague and it was not clear what the doctor should tell women undergoing the ultrasound. However, Assistant Attorney General Teresa Collette said that the statute clearly states what a doctor should tell a woman about the ultrasound image. State Senator Todd Lamb, the principal author of the bill, said he will urge the Attorney General to appeal and, if unsuccessful, said he would likely reintroduce a replacement measure next year. Well, on the growing problem of pro-choice violence, a Massachusetts man has been charged with armed assault with intent to murder after stabbing his girlfriend several times because she refused to get an abortion. According to authorities, Alex Santana had told his teenage victim that she was going to abort the pregnancy one way or the other. Later, Southbridge police found Leah Diver lying in a large puddle of blood. Diver was transferred to a Worcester hospital in critical condition. Police Chief Daniel R. Charette said the unborn child has survived the attack. And in a similar story, a former California postal worker has been sentenced to 32 years to life in state prison for murdering his girlfriend and her unborn child when she refused to get an abortion. According to police, 24-year-old Latrice Grayson began dating 34-year-old Aaron Ashley when she was 14 and he was 23. Last year, after she told him of the pregnancy, the married father of three ordered her to have an abortion. Ashley admitted in court that when Ms. Grayson refused to abort their baby, he grabbed a pair of scissors and stabbed her 23 times until the blade of the scissors broke. Grayson's 4-year-old son found his mother dead on her couch. In Spokane, Washington, Planned Parenthood has been ordered to reimburse the state for intentionally defrauding Medicaid. According to an audit obtained by LifeTalk News, Health and Recovery Services Administration officials found that the nation's largest abortion profiteer had falsely billed Medicaid approximately $630,000 for abortions, contraceptions, and other services that were either not covered or not performed. Now, an order has been filed against Planned Parenthood for reimbursement to the state along with interest charges for the overpayments. And finally, reality TV star Kourtney Kardashian says that she considered aborting her unplanned pregnancy before reconciling with her ex-fiancé. After learning she was expecting, the Keeping Up with the Kardashian star said she was torn between keeping the baby or having an abortion. In an interview with People.com, Kardashian said, quote, "I can't even tell you how many people just say, 'Oh, get an abortion,' like it's no big deal. I looked online and I was sitting on the bed hysterically crying, reading these stories of people who felt so guilty from having an abortion. For me, all the reasons why I wouldn't keep the baby were so selfish," unquote. Kardashian revealed that the father of her baby is Scott Disick and said that they are both very excited about starting a new family together. I'm Alan Ackles for LifeTalk News. You can get daily news updates by logging on to ProLifeAmerica.com. Mark, back to you.
Thanks, Alan. Well, we are the usual suspects -1 this month. I don't know if I think I've told all of you, but I'll make sure the audience understands. Kristen has decided that she called the other day and she was very apologetic. She's not going to be able to continue. As we all know, she's a new mom, and the traveling was just getting to her, and especially her son. I think y'all are aware of the situation. Was born with cystic fibrosis, and requires pretty extensive care, and he needs about an hour a day of help. And she just, we knew that. I mean, she brought her son with her one time, and we could tell that it was putting a real strain on her. So I think we all need to be praying for her and for her son, Gunnar.
She does amazing work, and she's all over the country.
Yeah, and she's told me she's going to have to cut back on her traveling. She was traveling 15 days a month, and for a new mom, and especially a new mom with a child with special needs, it was just overwhelming her. And the other day when she was here, or the last month when she was here, you could tell that it was starting to kind of really wear on her. And she thought she was going to be able to do this, but it's just. I mean, every human being, you just can't do everything. So,
We'll miss her. Maybe we'll have her on the show.
Oh yeah, well, she said she wants to be on every once in a while, just from the from the phone standpoint. So
Well, she's been working with David B. Wright, and they put out an excellent little clipping too.
Right.
It is dynamic, but we're gonna miss her because that's the high-tech sister that we had on.
Well, she's still working. Matter of fact, mention that she called the other day, and even after this, after she told me that she didn't want to continue or couldn't continue, and believe me, she feels bad about it. She wanted to continue, but the clip we have in MAFA 21 with Elaine Riddick, the lady who was sterilized without her knowledge, they're going to use that. They asked if they could have permission to use that in a piece that they're putting together with Stephen Broden here in Dallas, a black pastor over in Fair Park, South Dallas. Anyway, so yeah, she is a little more tech savvy than maybe the rest of us, but she's going to continue to work with us on several projects, especially the MAFA 21 project. And speaking of that, I want to bring everybody up to date. This thing is exploding, especially in the African American community, like nothing I've ever seen. And I've been doing a few, more than a few, but a few radio programs lately. And one of the best ones, I was on a program today, which I'd never heard of, called LIB, Living in Black. And this is not, I don't know the religious feelings of most of these people, their spiritual life, but it's not a Christian-based ministry or anything like that. It's a program dedicated strictly to the black experience in America. And these are some people that I think most people would consider to be maybe a little on the fringe, a little radical. They asked me to be on for an hour. At the end of the hour, they asked me if I'd stay for the second hour. And from what I can tell, I might have been the first white guy that's ever been on this show, because they had to make a big deal out about that at the beginning. And
a lily white Texas.
Lily white guy from Texas. And the response that we had was overwhelming. It was really interesting. Matter of fact, we're going to make some clips from that and put them on the MAFA 21 website, and maybe play some of them here on LifeTalk in the future. But
So you got them stirred up over there,
got them stirred up, and people, and I'm getting all these calls from these African Americans that are saying, man, we're getting on board, we're getting involved, what do we got to do? And from this LIB show that I was on, they were talking, two of the guests that called in said they were going to call back and talk to the host, a man named Kidi Awadu, and organize with him to have a national meeting of all the people that they can round up to have a national conference of some sort to figure out what they're going to do about this issue.
That is great, because what you're dealing with, Mark, you're talking about the grassroots people. These are the grassroots people. And, even with us, we decide, well, we're going to work with the pastors and everybody first. And some of the pastors been slowed. The pastors that got involved are really going full steam. However, even in our local town of Fayetteville, it was when I showed it to the average blacks who work with young people, mentoring young people, those who are out in the street, in the neighborhood, organizing for real communities, not like, And but I remember one fellow, after he saw it, they called me and asked me to come and speak to the youth for one of the mentoring programs they had. And when I got there that morning, he said, brother, he said, we watched it last night. He said, I want you to know, halfway through this thing, I took the remote and threw it down, and we had to leave for a while. They said, then we came back in and watched the rest of it. They said, we got to do something. And that's been a reaction. Even Donald Turner, that runs the Durham pro-life group up there, this is a group that's already on the street. When a group of them got together and just watched it because they planned to show it to the entire church. And they got halfway through and they cut it off. And got themselves together, did a little prayer and cut it back on. But they said they were so mad halfway through it. It was almost overwhelming.
Well, it's been astonishing to me how the response has been to it. And the most amazing thing is we're still seeing that a very high percentage of our orders, I'd say it's probably in the neighborhood of 30% of our orders are multiples, people ordering 3, 5, 10, 20.
So they've seen it already.
And they're getting them for their friends.
They've heard about it, and now they're saying we need to get this not only for ourselves, but in the hands of many other people that we know.
And something that's interesting, we started noticing a phenomenon here on the order line, is people who are calling in who have never seen it, but are ordering 3 or 5 of them, just on what they've heard, and saying if that's what it's about, I want 5 of them.